The version of you you're trying to become? It already exists, not in your imagination, but in the quantum field of possibilities your brain is constantly predicting. Today you'll learn how to live from that identity, before your reality catches up. Welcome to Quantum Life. In the last episode, we explored how to step outside the program, the unconscious loop that keeps you repeating the same emotional patterns, habits, and reactions. But once you break the loop, there is a void. And in that void, something extraordinary opens up. The possibility of consciously choosing who you become next. This is where we move from escaping the old self into living from the quantum self, the version of you that already exists in potential. In quantum mechanics, every particle exists in multiple states, a superposition, until it is observed. Your identity works the same way. You are not one fixed self. You are a field of possibilities, confident, calm, disciplined, creative, grounded, all existing at once. The moment you decide which version to observe, the moment you give it emotional attention, that version begins to collapse into your reality. A concept from Caltech's research on quantum decoherence explains this well. Systems stabilize into a single pattern when they are repeatedly interacted with. Your identity stabilizes the same way. Whatever emotional state you repeat becomes the version of you your brain believes is real. Neuroscience reveals how this happens. At the University of Wisconsin-Madison, Richard J. Davidson found that long-term meditators permanently altered emotional and attentional networks in the brain, not because of luck, because the brain rewires itself to match whatever state you sustain long enough. At Stanford University, Andrew Huberman discovered that when focus and elevated emotion merge, the brain releases neurochemicals that mark new pathways for change. This isn't imagination, it's biological conditioning. Your brain cannot tell the difference between an event experienced and an event intensely imagined. It only responds to the emotional signal. So when you rehearse the emotional life of your future self, confidence, peace, abundance, clarity, your brain begins to code that as the new identity. You are no longer pretending. You are programming. Behind this neuroscience is an even deeper mechanism, the predictive brain. According to cognitive scientist Andy Clark, your brain is not responding to your life, it is predicting it. Your identity is not just memory, it's a prediction that your brain runs again and again to minimize uncertainty. This means that transformation isn't about forcing new habits. It's about giving your brain enough repeated emotional evidence that it has no choice but to update the prediction of who you are. To live as your future self, you must give your brain a new model to predict. Imagine this version of yourself clearly. How do they walk? How do they breathe? How do they respond to difficulty? How do they speak to themselves? How do they make decisions? How do they hold boundaries? Now step into it. Close your eyes and inhabit that version of you for just 60 seconds. Feel the posture. Feel the breath. Feel the emotional tone of that identity. Let your nervous system memorize it like a signature. Identity is not changed through thought. It changes through repetition of emotional state. Do this daily, and your brain begins predicting that this is who you are. Your decisions shift. Your reactions shift. Your perception shifts. Your opportunities shift. Not because the world changed, but because you changed your internal frequency. Quantum theory teaches that observation collapses potential into form. Neuroscience teaches that repetition collapses identity into habit. When you combine the two, you begin to embody the quantum self. To summarize in simple words, your future identity is not something you chase. It's something you tune into. And when you tune into it consistently, your environment begins reflecting it back to you. In the next episode, we'll explore how to keep this identity stable by aligning your heart and mind, and why emotional coherence is the key to becoming someone new. Thank you for watching Quantum Life. If this episode resonated with you, like, subscribe, and share it with someone who is ready to evolve. You'll find the recommended books and research in the description below. And remember, you don't attract the life you want. You attract the life you're being.